symbolism of the Boston bomber also in this predictive programming that we have, and all these things that are in sequence with what's going on. They do is they create chaos so they can impose their order, and that's the symbolism that we're seeing here. And you know, one of the things that was interesting to me is the Monoceres constellation is the unicorn, and we'll have to do a separate show on that, but the rhinoceros is named after this unicorn constellation that represents Horus, which is the false Christ. And there was a tapestry that was filmed with the Rockefellers explaining this. And like I said, we'll have to do another show on that. But it's just fascinating, all of the symbolism, you know, with the pomegranate tree and Persephone and all of these things that tie into it. And, you know, in the iPetGoat video, we see when the false Christ comes out after the Horus rises from the mosque, and you see the false Christ birth in the Anubis boat, and he has the Aten sun on his head, which Akhenaten worshipped, which represents Mercury. So I just find that interesting. And you know, Enter the Stars also had this movie that we had in ours too, 007. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it had the skeleton dancer that was in the iPetGoat. And then you see the skeleton on top on the specter. But not only that, there was a one-eyed showing the one-eyed symbolism again in that movie that we showed in our last video. And then in that other movie that we showed with the Eye of Horus and him putting the eye in his head, I mean, there's a lot of symbolism of war. See all the celebrities making the one eye symbolism. Even, you know, the popes did the one eye symbolism and the 666. And then you got CERN. So you have all this symbolism that is all tied together that's just in sequence. I mean, it's such synchronicity in the movies and videos and predictive programming, and symbolism is just everywhere right now. And the Economic Magazine for 2016, the unicorn is a symbol of the third eye. And so you see this guy wearing a blue hat representing Mars, the god of war, and he has some sunglasses on that says pi upside down, which is representing the Indo-Europeans, and it's a bloodline of the silver thread. And so he's representing this, that he has the third eye open. I don't know who he is, so if anybody knows who this guy is, and let me know.
Yeah, and it connects to Zechariah chapter 11, verse 17, where it says, "Woe to the worthless shepherd who leaves the flock. A sword will be on his arm and on his right eye. His arm will be totally withered, and his right eye will be blind." And I find that totally relates to this one-eye symbolism that they like to do.
Unbelievable. Now, the mother, we're going to call them the SARS, because that's how you say the first part of their name. The two sons, the two brothers that were at the Boston Marathon were accused, right? Well, their mother is often pictured in a hijab, just like the woman in iPetGo2. This is her right here. And in iPetGo2, she is pictured crying black tears. Look at the tears on her face. They are black. Well, there was a particular song called Black Tears by an Australian band. And it was all about an in-custody police death. Here's the song here, Black Tears, Australian alternative rock band Powderfinger. 6th studio album on June 2nd, 2007. And this was all about a man who died in the 2004 Palm Island death in custody. Here's the Wikipedia page here. And of course, who died in police custody? One of the brothers. Now, this was an Aborigine man who was killed, and now you understand how this all comes full circle back to exactly what we're experiencing right now. You just saw the beginning and the end of something very important. Now, one of the boys, see if we can find his picture. There he is. Look at his eye. He was a boxer. This is the one that died in police custody. And if you look at the images of iPetGoat, the woman, the mother, remember, she's also a metaphor for Mary and the child Jesus, right? But they're also dovetailing. Remember, it's nested realities. So it can mean 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different things. In God's mind, it represents infinite truth. There are infinite meanings to any one thing. But in this iPetGoat scene, we're looking at 2 nested realities. In one reality, it's Mother Mary and the son Jesus. In another reality, it's Mother Sar and her son. Look at the eye. Look at the eye. Wrapped in boxing tape instead of the ceremonial linen. Wrapped in boxing tape. Unbelievable. Now you'll see the scarab beetle crawling on his forehead. Remember, iPetGo2 came out in 2012, long before anything that we're talking about today happened. This scarab we identified back in 2013. Scarab backwards is Barack. Barack's scarab, under the president under which this in-custody death would happen. Remember, the mother saw the videotape and she said, "That's my son." and nobody listened. He was alive in police custody, and then he was gone.
They already told us that they're never going to show us Jahar. What have you done with my son? He was alive. Why did they need to kill him? Why didn't send him to the, Guantanamo or whatever? Why did they kill him?
Why is Astana the concert hall on the backdrop of this image here? Astana rules the elite world. It's the silent ruler. They are at the top of the food chain.
The Luciferian New World Order is in the process of establishing a communistic, socialistic one-world government. In addition to this new socialistic world government, it will also establish a new religion. This new religion will embrace all the world's religions, but will in fact promote Lucifer as the true God. Those who do not worship the beast spoken of in Revelation and do not accept the mark of the beast will be cut off from society and terminated. Talking about the New World Order and the new one world religion that goes along with it, I want to introduce you to a place called Astana in Kazakhstan. Astana is described as the New World Order's great city, and I'm reading from this website which says, Astana is the capital city of Kazakhstan with an official estimated population of nearly 700,000 people as of March 1st, 2010. Astana is the first large capital being built in the 21st century. The word Astana originates from Persian, Astana from the verb istadan, which means to stand in respect, and literally means threshold, i.e. royal or sacred, when people stand in respect and awe, implying where the court is seated, as in a capital city or a shrine town. What this really means is that Astana is being built as a shrine to the New World Order. Now, we want to have a look at what this means and the symbolism surrounding this, as well as the religious aspects or the religious dimensions to it. The city has been described as a futuristic occult capital being built in a remote and deserted area of the Asian steppes. The city also depicts many instances of sun worship, making one believe that the city is a celebration of the religion. So let's have a look at some of the photographs of the New World Order capital. Now this imagery here, these two pillars that we see, let's see what the website says about these two pillars. It says, this layout is present in a majority of important cities, including Washington, D.C. and Paris. The two golden pillars are believed to represent Masonic symbolism, specifically the two pillars of Masonry, Boaz and Jachin. These pillars are featured in all Masonic lodge rooms. Boaz and Jachin were two copper, brass or bronze pillars which stood in the porch of Solomon's temple, the first temple in Jerusalem. Okay, so we see Masonic imagery. Here we can see that the main building, which is sort of the presidential palace, is built along the same lines as Washington, D.C. Now, of course, we know that Washington, D.C. was built totally along occult lines. And we see another view here of the presidential palace. Here we can see what is called the Tree of Life. At the back here, we'll see later that there's a meeting room right at the top here where the world's religions are being united. There's an eagle up there which symbolizes power. We're seeing basically a New World Order, New Age city being built. Okay, so let's carry on. Going inside, we see this globe signed by representatives from 17 religious denominations, and this represents uniting all religions together under the New World Order. Very, 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 very significant. Okay, so we see a clear plan that part of the New World Order is to unite the world's religions without a shadow of doubt. Now, this pyramid is dedicated to the renunciation of violence and to bring together the world's religions. The architect claims that the building has no recognizable religious symbols, but in reality the pyramid is a temple for sun worship, which is the religion of the New World Order. The pyramid is the main symbol of Freemasonry and ancient religious doctrine. Today's elite use these pyramids as symbols of power throughout the world. Las Vegas and Dubai contain similar structures, as do many other cities in the world. Here we have the apex of the pyramid, and this is what we're going to see inside. So the apex is round and covered with sunlight. Images of white doves are embedded in the windows. This is obviously to do with world peace, representing also the unification of world governments and religions in this round circular shape, and the New World Order. So the apex which is at the top of the pyramid, is the ultimate representation of illumination, which is the spiritual evolution of humanity into this new golden age or era of Aquarius, as we've seen before. Inside, we see this meeting room, and we see the sun imagery and eye right in the center of this room. I mean, it couldn't be more clear. This is pure Luciferian worship right here. This is Lucifer being worshipped. And this meeting room here, which is the main room, also has the sun symbolism and or eye in the ceiling, and it is the conference room where the religious leaders of the world meet. But we can see here the sun occupies the whole ceiling. So all about illumination. This is the Tree of Life, and it says this monument is meant to embody a folk tale about a mythical tree of life and a magic bird of happiness. The Tree of Life, as it's called, is a roadmap which spirits supposedly use when they leave the material world to join the afterlife. The golden globe at the top of the monument represents the sun, the supreme deity, and here we have sun worship again. Now inside the gold globe, which is right at the top of that construction there, we have this very strange looking symbol. And it's a gold triangle which represents the president's handprint in the center, the president of this country. But there's something obviously much more mystical here. I believe this has to do with Satan, who the Bible says is the master of this world, or the prince of this world. This person says that the global elites scatter their symbols and doctrines all over the world, and of course the general population fail to recognize what's going on. So, this could signify Satan's mark on the world, or his thumbprint or handprint, making it an impression into this triangle. He's stamping his authority. Ultimately, this is right at the top of this Tree of Life. So, once again, we have the shrine to Luciferianism, to illumination, that Satan is in fact the light bearer and the bringer of light to humanity and spiritual life to humanity. Here we have a helix shape. The helix has to do with the DNA of mankind, and one of the very significant things that you're going to find when you start studying the occult and what's happening in this New Age One World religion is the fusion of the sons of God with the daughters of men, i.e. the fallen angels being fused with humans to form these new superhumans, again this concept of transhumanism. And I'm sorry to say it, but it also is in the shape of a male sexual organ, which is very significant in things like Freemasonry, because most of the occult religions have to do with fertility cults. So man is building a shrine to himself. Lucifer is being glorified as the god of this world. And here we have this new age, new century city being built to glorify man. Without any shadow of doubt. This is very pagan, very occultic.
Billions, maybe if not even trillions of dollars spent in a place that seems to have no source for its money. And it just so happens that during the summer eclipse, A스타나 actually saw a partial eclipse. This is chilling. This is the June 21st, 2020 eclipse. We call this the Apollo eclipse of the summer solstice, the day that Trump had his return rally. Okay? And look at this. This is the closest that I could get the marker to A스타나. They basically experienced a partial eclipse. Here it is here. This is exactly what it looks like. And now I believe we found what this is in the background. That's the partial eclipse right there. Let's do side by side. See that? So here we are, full circle, June 21st. In custody, police death on Memorial Day, remember? And let's take a look at the path of this eclipse, because this is crazy. Let's zoom in on some of these cities. This actually goes right very near Wuhan. Here are the cities here. It's loading up. And goes right underneath Afghanistan, and here you can see where I put the marker. In Kazakhstan, there's the marker there. They saw a partial eclipse. Here is the sea there. Here are the Caucasus Mountains. Here's Dagestan in the Caucasus, which is where the Tsar family was from. And now we've decoded the scene in iPetGoat. And as you can see here, all down through here, this is all hijab territory. Bottom of Saudi Arabia, the eclipse went right through it. And this marked the cry later. Cry later. See her face? The sad face eclipse. But why? Because it forms a sad face. The path of the eclipse forms a sad face. Okay, there it is right there. And we've all been masked. She's wearing her mask. That's not a mask, Casey. Yes, it is. It's the Cry Later mask. Now, there's the veil. It's called a niqab. It is a part of the hijab. So, see the mouth? That is a mask. She is wearing a mask. You just don't know it. See? Cry Later eclipse. We have the smile now on December 26th. That went right underneath China. That marked the beginning. They were telling us all to smile together at home. And now we're crying later because we bought the lie. So now you know how all this ties into the GF incident, Memorial Day incident. And now we're all in our hijab, niqab, masks. This was about fear of the faith, all while masking us under the faith, under their faith in America. That's what this is. It's humiliation and fear. They're wielding violence to create fear and control. So how did iPetGoat2 know that this would happen months and years before it did? Well, that's for you to decide. You know, they give us clues. The Economist cover, people, some people turn away from iPetGoat2, but yet when something comes out like on The Simpsons or South Park, that's okay when they foreshadow things, but iPetGoat wasn't. It's just another tool that they use, you guys. They just think most of us are too stupid to figure it out.
We are warriors with nothing to lose. You've given us purpose. You've given us a plan. We pray protection around law enforcement today, Lord God. Let's do this, guys. Hey, guys.
We're not looking for any fights. We are here simply to stand with Donald Trump and for his fellow supporters. And in the event that we have to provide extra security, we will.
The armed citizen is the first line of defense, law-abiding weapons carriers. But the people that don't want to follow the law, they'll get what they deserve.
Everyday patriots are coming on board, and people who want to stand up to the leftist, racist murderers that are killing cops.
Chris Cox is founder of Bikers for Trump, a grassroots group that has shown its political support by becoming a protective force. After violence erupted at some Trump rallies, Cox and other bikers began showing up to guard against angry protesters.
We'll see you at the Albany rally. All right, guys, let's load it up.
All over the place, no matter where I go, there's bikers. And they come.
Donald Trump praised his biker friends over Memorial Day weekend after Rolling Thunder endorsed him for president.
We'd have 1,000 bikes. And I said, what are they all doing here? And my people would say, they're here to protect you, Mr. Trump. It's an amazing thing.
Now they've come from as far away as Arizona and South Carolina to patrol the Republican National Convention.
I'll be darned if I see a woman getting assaulted, spit on, eggs thrown at, shouted at, cursed at. I will not allow that in my presence.
Because bikers want to see a wall built, because bikers want to see Syrian refugees vetted, it doesn't make us racist, it makes us patriots. We've got to change our policies in Washington. We got to work on bringing jobs back to America. We have to work on race relations in America. I see Black Lives Matter, they're very frustrated with the way things are going, but the way that they're acting is counterproductive to our country. You see these young black men and women jumping up and down on cars and lighting things on fire, looting pharmacies. You'll never see a biker do any of those things.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Donald Trump Museum, dedicated to America's #1 citizen and America's greatest living folk hero, the one and only Donald Trump. Learn the amazing history of the Trump family.
Somebody criticized me the other day because they asked me what I do, and I said, I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care.
And I guess I have some very good enemies, and I like it that way somehow. And I really believe in trashing your enemies.
Inside, you will learn how Donald Trump's father left him a large inheritance.
Nobody's going to do more women than Donald Trump. That I can tell you. That I can tell you. And I think they know it.
Discover how in 2016 Donald Trump successfully lobbied to legalize gambling.
Part of the beauty of me is that I'm very rich.
He wants to run for president and move on into the White House. Why not?
Share in the stupidity of the average American as they made him the 45th president of the United States.
That will easily go down as the greatest president in the history of the United States. Me, Donald John Trump.
No! Hey, go! Hey, wait, you come with us upstairs. There we go, Sonny. We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
See, look, even here it's saying to receive the scroll and to break open its seals. Oh my goodness, I didn't even realise this was here. I used this picture in a video the other day. That is Apollyon the Destroyer. Mars, the Roman god of war. And we've got that same representation of the Holy of Holies type thing, and him raising out of it Apollyon the Destroyer, the Antichrist. That is not Jesus. I don't think it takes much to work out that that's not Jesus.
Our coverage this morning of Pope Francis in America with Nora at the White House. Nora?
Thank you, Gail. You know, Pope Francis is also going to celebrate his first Mass in the United States, and that is at the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. Now, he is the third Pope to visit the Basilica that is on the Catholic University of America campus. And Chip Reed is there to show us what to expect this afternoon. Chip, good morning.
Well, good morning. You know, around here, most people simply call it the Shrine, and it is a beautiful building. It is the largest Roman Catholic church in America. In fact, they're expecting about 25,000 people here this afternoon to see and hear the Pope celebrate Mass.
final mission to save mankind has failed. The 70-mile-wide asteroid known as Matilda is set to collide with Earth in exactly 3 weeks' time, and we'll be bringing you our countdown to the end of days, along with all your classic rock favorites.
Feel free to wear your casual Friday clothing pretty much any day of the week. And if anyone wants to be CFO. Anyone?
So, what are you doing with the rest of your life?
Catching up on some me time, find God.